May I bring you the House Minority Leader that flipped the majority last Tuesday, Nancy Pelosi.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Reverend Sharpton, for the invitation to be here, for your kind words of introduction, and once again, to be in touch. It was my honor to be with so many of you in New York for the convention, and here on any number of occasions at the behest of the distinguished Reverend Sharpton. Thank you for your leadership. Yes, here we are in the majority. I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to be here with Congresswoman Fudge, with Congressman Espelot, with Congresswoman Yvette Clarke, with Congresswoman Robin Kelly of New York, oh, and with the great senator from New York, Kirsten Gillibrand. As we open this session, let us just find our common ground as to how we go forward. First, let us recognize that we achieved a great victory. In a gerrymandered, voter-suppressed map, we were able to sweep up to almost 40 seats so far, and count up to 40 seats for the Democrats in the majority. That would not have been possible without the African-American community coming out so strongly across the country. And thank you, Reverend Sharpton, for the strong role. There you go, that you played. Second of all, let's recognize and applaud the fact that we have record numbers of people of color in our caucus now, and record number of women. We have always been, for a long time now, a majority caucus, the House Democrats, of women, people of color, and LGBTQ, over 50%. Now we're probably over 60%. That's a stark difference from the other side of the aisle. We are America. We look like America. America is represented in the Congress very fully. It's so interesting that it's 30 of the new members. We'll have a low of 57, maybe 60 new members. 30 of them are women. Over half of the people elected are women. And this is particularly meaningful to us because we are observing the 50th anniversary of the election of the first African-American woman to Congress, Shirley Chisholm. That's an appropriate way to recognize her success, her courage. Imagine the courage it took then, and now it still takes courage. But let's just talk about a few things. We ran on an agenda of for the people, lowering health care costs by reducing the cost of prescription drugs, protecting the pre-existing condition benefit, et cetera. We ran on for the people to raise paychecks by building the infrastructure of our country, and to do so in a way that involves the full participation of our communities. And we ran on integrity of government, and that is H.R. 1, the bill to lower the role of money in politics, increase the voice of people in politics. And part of H.R. 1, which we hope will be one of the earliest pieces of legislation to come from the committees to the floor, is to pass Terry Sewell's Voting Rights Act, right at the start of Congress. As we do this, we will do it with openness and respect for all points of view. We will do it with bipartisanship, strive for bipartisanship so that we can get a presidential signature, but to appeal to the public that we are trying to find a common ground. And then the third is to remember the vows of our founders, our guidance of our founders, e pluribus unum. They couldn't imagine how many we'd be from any one. They couldn't imagine how many or how different, but they knew that we had to strive for unity and not go there to divide, but to unite. And we do believe that our faith gives us the common ground to do that, because faith is what gives people hope. People say to me all the time, and I shared this at the convention, people say, where is hope? Where can I find hope? I said, hope is sitting where it always has been, right there between faith and love. People have hope because they believe in the goodness of others. And we have to make sure we have a path for that to happen. And one way we want to do it in the Congress is we have a diversity initiative to say to all these new chairmen coming in what we said when we had the majority before, but now we have a big majority that with the resources to make a difference. We want to see diversity at the highest levels of all of the staffs, be it committee or personal staffs in the Congress. It has been met with great positive response by our chairman, by our members, by our newcomers, so that all of the people who are making decisions here, and staffs are very important, our colleagues will agree, will be in line to perhaps run for office themselves, have standing on the issues to take those values to the private sector. So for these and other reasons, certainly we will have a gun bill. We asked them for it, so now we will have to have it. And it talks about what happens, and Robin Kelly has been a champion on this. It's not as horrible as these mass murders are, and they're horrible. Assault on our country's character. What happens every night across America is also an assault on our character. And Robin has been a champion in that regard. So it is with great knowledge of our issues, vision on what we have. Reverend, I'm just going to close with this one thing, because I think this is very important for how we go forward across the board, across all caucuses and the rest. When President Obama was president, and don't we miss President Obama? What a blessing to our country he and Michelle have been. I just want to say this. So he came in with a very depressed economy. There was a deep recession, almost a depression in our country. And so we did what we had to do in order to pass the bill, the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. We did all kinds of things, the health care bill, to help improve the financial situation of Americans' families. But because the economy was so bad, it was hard for us to take gigantic steps that we can do now. President brags about how good the economy is, because of what we did then, part of the private sector initiatives and the rest. But it enables us to say, we declare our independence from the income inequality in our country. We declare our independence from the disparity of income from the CEO to the worker. We're going forward to reward work, so we're going to have a vision. It's going to be visionary on how we go forward with these initiatives. And they have to be about, again, worker training, education, and the rest, as well as what we promised in our For the People agenda. As we have to make a difference, because this comes back to people of faith. This is an immorality in our country, that we have an economy that perpetuates disparity in income to this extent. So we have to work very hard to do that. We have great chairmen from the community. Maxine is going to be in there doing the fight on housing in a very strong way. Benny Thompson will be in there fighting to stop domestic terrorism in our country, gun issues and the rest from his committee. Elijah Cummings, oh my gosh, aren't we proud of Elijah Cummings? Bobby Scott will be working on the education and workforce issues. We're changing the name of his committee to Education and Labor. And he, as Mr. Espelata commented on him this morning, talking about making sure that we have worker development so that people are trained for the jobs that are there and to get higher pay for them. Who else do we have on it? We have, the list goes on in terms of our chairman who will be serving us so well from the people of color community. On here, of course, Robin Kelly, I mentioned, a champion in so many ways, but a real leader as part of our task force on gun violence protection. Yvette Clark on the Energy and Commerce Committee, a real champion to end the environmental injustices that exist in our country. That's such an important point. I mentioned Mr. Espelot in that regard as well, and for one thing, just I'm just naming one thing, but on the Agriculture Committee, Marcia Fudge being a fighter for having nutrition for our children as something a decent country does, and not as something that we have to fight over. So a real fighter on food stamps and the rest for America's children. She had to leave. She had to leave. But everyone is making such a tremendous contribution to all of this. We invite your comments. Your criticisms are always welcome, but also to think in entrepreneurial, bigger ways. We're going to be visionary. We're going to be unifying. We're going to be healing. We're going to be transparent in how we do this. We're going to be respectful of other views. But we are going to, we're going to try to find our common ground where we can. We have a responsibility to do that. But where we can't, stand our ground like a rock. That's what Thomas Jefferson advised us to do. So in any event, thank you. Thank you for helping take back America. People all over the place are calling me, writing on the airports here, there. Thank you for saving America. I give those thanks to you. Thank you for saving America. Reverend Sharpton, thank you for saving America. Thank you, Don. Thank you.
Give a hand, Nancy Pelosi, Congresswoman.